Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gail Morgan welcoming you to the Libertarian Counterpoint's Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. You've heard their point, now listen to the counterpoint.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We are coming at you on October 13th, 2021. It's the month of Halloween, but also not just scary because of that, it's scary because of who we have in the White House. Aside from that, let me introduce you to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have Leon the Word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. In our upper right-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom is back, Tim Evers. And he's been out with some health concerns, but he's back now, so we're certainly appreciative of that. He is a pilot in the state of California. My name's Jason McPhee, I'll be your host today. Tim, did you want to say anything to the audience since you've been gone on a long hiatus?
Yeah, I'm not screaming as loud as I usually am because I came out of a 33-day vacation in the hospital with severe COVID, and I'm still on oxygen at home here after a week and a half, but it's slowly dwindling, the oxygen, that is, to where eventually I won't need it, but and I'm doing my exercises to regain my 15 pounds of lost muscle from atrophy, just laying in bed for 33 days. It'll do that to you. And so I would not recommend, this little vacation to anyone if you can avoid it. And I think you can. But, all that notwithstanding, that's a controversial issue, by the way. The avoidance of COVID strategy. That's controversial. Yes. As is everything in today's social network. It's just everything's controversial, even germ theory, and whether or not the Earth is round. After Copernicus and Galileo went through all that trouble way back when. Anyway, here we are still hashing these issues out. And so, I'm happy that the guys were able to press on without me, and happy to be back in what limited capacity I can muster here. But I do have a mute button that I'm going to use right now.
Well, Tim, we're definitely glad to have you back. And I figured if nothing else, the craziness of what's going on in this administration would get you kicking up in no time to get you enough fit to return. Anyway,
I try not to pay too much attention to it, to be honest. And I kind of had my hands full with my own issues, like keeping my numbers up and watching my blood oxygen level with my little handy device here. Anyway, that's my new life for the time being, and I hope it to be as short as possible.
Not your life, just this period of time.
Yes. Right. Yeah, my life was already endangered more than once when I was there in the hospital. So luckily I survived. I did not get intubated, thankfully. Probably wouldn't be here. But, you never know. People survive. It's not like it's a death sentence, but it's not good. Not good. But I avoided it.
Tim, is really good. It's really good to have you back. I mean, I have a brother who went through a very similar experience to you. I mean, it was like being on death's door kind of thing, honestly, in my brother's case. And but he survived. And like you, he lost a lot of muscle while he was there. He was hospitalized for almost a month. But he made it through, and I'm glad to see you healing and recovering. I'm very happy about this. So welcome back.
Thank you, Leon. Yeah, it's if suffocation is something you enjoy, it's a great experience, because suffocation is pretty much what you're what you're facing, or at least the feeling, especially when you have to, use the toilet, whatever the toilet may be. It could be a urinal, could be a what you call it, toilet right next to you. So those are the things that really take your oxygen away, and they wear you down. Let me tell you, and give you that feeling that your body is trying to kill you with suffocation, and it is. You're essentially you're trying to. Your body is trying to suffocate you. So, hey guys, you really want that experience? I know what you can do or not do. I know what you cannot do. Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
And I think that really makes the point to hopefully our audience that if you are in a higher risk category, you don't take this thing lightly. This is very serious.
You mean like somebody with gray hair?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you find yourself at the early bird specials frequently, or taking the bus to the casino to pull the slots, I think you should not take this lightly.
Right. You should. Not to mention the 30 and 40-year-olds that I routinely heard of that were dying right there in the same hospital I was at. And I heard more than once, like 4 or 5 times, unsolicited, that I was the best patient they had. That could be from a respiratory therapist or a nurse. And first time I heard it, respiratory therapist had 13 other patients. I was the best patient by far, he said.
Wow.
He said, you're sitting up talking to me. I said, I got guys, they can't even lift their hands. And they could be 30 years old, 40 years old. What is the number one common denominator with all those patients? Every single one of them was totally unvaccinated. I had 1 shot of Pfizer. I got July 30th. And I don't know, did that make the difference? I was everybody's best patient. And everybody else, I was the only one with a single dose. Everyone else was 0 doses of vaccine. Go take it to the bank, or you wait a minute. I've got another idea. You can just don't take that stupid vaccine. It's going to kill you in 3 or 4 years anyway. Just like the Manchurian Candidate, it's the vaccine version of the Manchurian Candidate, and it's going to rear its ugly head and kill off half the population of the United States. And we all know that. But so don't do it. Instead, take a risk that you may end up 33 days struggling to breathe. There, then how's that sound, Bucky?
Well, our eagle is screaming again.
Obviously
I
screaming.
got my voice back. It must be these handy little throat lozenges. They work.
Good. Well, keep on sucking them, Tim. Keep on sucking them.
Well, we got some topics that'll definitely get you screaming for the rest of the show as well. So,
all right.
Apparently, this goes right into our first topic. So Janet Yellen and Biden apparently think that they have, I guess, can ignore the Constitution and just look into your bank accounts now for everybody without any kind of a warrant or anything. And so I guess, James, we're ready for that first visual here. And so this is essentially, this is Janet Yellen, and they want the IRS to be able to look into your bank account and see any transactions over $600. So, it doesn't matter. It's almost like the Snowden stuff and everything else, don't worry, we can look. We're not really trying to find anything, but hey, they've got the technology and they are checking out everything you're doing. And, kind of crazy. By the way, isn't it kind of funny too that, those early checks that they sent out to everybody would probably put everybody into transactions in their bank account that are now going to
exactly.
So, you guys have any thoughts on this? I think it's just horrific.
Yeah. Your government at work, and it's very wonderful to see them at work, that they send checks to everybody for $600, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, we just want to see inside the account." The same account that they sent you that money for $600. But really and truly, guys, this thing speaks to a larger problem we are having in our society today, and it will lead you to wonder if we are still living in a constitutional republic. Now look at the three things that are going on right now. Number one, they want to look inside your bank account. Number two, they want to tell you, you know what? You should take the vaccine regardless of your condition. You should take the vaccine. Now we can talk about that when they should take it. That's number two. But they want to mandate it. And number three, just last week, we found out that parents who are concerned about their children are now domestic terrorists, according to our Department of Justice, and that whack job who's leading the Department of Justice, known as Merrick Garland. So the problem is that our federal government is becoming so large and so powerful that they don't have to be worried about the Constitution anymore. They think they own our bodies, they own our lives, that they could enter it and leave it as they damn well please. But we know once they enter, they never will leave, because the violation of our rights means nothing to them. So this is where we are right now. Our society, our citizenship is under siege by our federal government. And we better be very, very careful where we go into all of this.
Yeah, that's good points. The previous point at which banks had to report on transactions was 10,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
10,000. Okay.
And Tim, if I could interrupt you, that was when it was $10,000 in cash. It was not $10,000 if it was an electronic transaction. Sorry, but go ahead.
Oh, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. So now it's $600 regardless.
You got it.
They're going to be. I don't know if they have computers big enough to house all that data, but that's their problem. So I'm kind of wondering how the chairman of the Federal Reserve gets to, give their, is it the imprimatur? My Catholic upbringing is fading into the distance. The imprimatur, was that the seal of approval? I think it was
Yes.
Catholic seal of approval.
Yes.
No other Catholics here. Oh, yeah, shame on you. Anyway, so
I was raised Catholic, Tim. I was raised Catholic.
Okay. Well, let me look that word up later on.
Okay.
So,
fact check moment. There we go.
yeah, I'm going to blame that on COVID fog. Anytime I forget something, it's COVID fog. Okay. So, yeah, Janet Yellen, what has she got to do with the IRS? I mean, I can't figure it out. Bankers Bank, Bank of Last Resort, blah, 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 dual mandate, Eccles building. I mean, I can't figure this whole thing out. What she has to do, what she has to say about anything. So I suppose the IRS could go look into, every $10 transaction. I mean, what's the diff? I mean, how about $10? How about 20? They got all that time on their hands that they can. So it's not really them though. It's the banks now. So here are the banks caught in the middle. They've got to report, file, and send out reports to the IRS for $600 transactions. So is this going to cost the hapless banking customer when the banks have to do all this extra work? And what for? I mean, what? They're so destitute that, because they spend more than they take in. Is that the problem? Is that what they're saying?
Well, I think part of what it is, Tim, is I think that this is some crazed, quest to make sure everybody's paying their fair share, of all of this crazy spending that they want to do nowadays. And but of course, it does kind of beg the question when if they're clearly not going after just wealthy people, if they want to check $600 transactions.
Tell me this thing. Tell me this thing.
You can go to the grocery store by yourself and easily spend $200, $300 on one trip to the grocery store. So, I mean, there's a, you go to a, sort of one of those places like a Walmart that has groceries and other stuff, you can easily spend, $500-$600, in one transaction. So, and of course your credit card bill every month is for almost everybody is going to wind up being over $600.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times this year I've been to the grocery, Costco in particular, and I end up spending $300 or $400. How many times this year I've done that with no problem? Okay, especially since COVID began, But it's amazing that this invasion of privacy seems to not even bother these people. They think they could just invade our privacy, and it should be no big deal. Oh, we have to worry about the taxes that people are not paying, and we have to make sure everybody is paying their fair share. So that means we should invade the privacy of everyone because maybe certain people are not paying this so-called fair share. Think about the madness of this. And these people think this is okay. And you know what's an little irony here? These are the same people who said, we cannot invade women's privacy when it involves killing the unborn child, but they could invade all of our privacies when it involves our bank accounts. This is amazing. This is truly amazing.
Well, it's about free stuff, Leon, and no privacy is too important when it goes to free stuff. But yeah, James, maybe you could pull up the next visual for us, because this is what the protection is supposed to be for us on this. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution says the right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Supported by an oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So that's what's in the Constitution protecting us. And once again, it sounds like with the Biden administration, Constitution, seems like we're running short on toilet paper. Can you bring that over here? But anyways, let's jump to the next story real quick too. So in the next story, this is ties into the Federal Reserve again, and I guess Janet Yellen. But recently we've had some of the Congress people calling for a change in the dual mandate. Essentially, people like AOC are asking that it's already kind of crazy that we're asking the Federal Reserve to sort of tweak the money supply to try and do this dual mandate of checking employment and inflation. But now AOC wants the President Biden to reimagine the Federal Reserve and to have it focused on eliminating climate risk and advancing racial and economic justice. So, I mean, you talk about just playing with the money supply. I mean, talk about, just a recipe for just lighting it all on fire. I can't think. I mean, one, it's already crazy to think you can control two variables with just the one tool of, tweaking the money supply here and there. But then the idea that you're going to control now four variables with just this one lever is absolutely insane. You guys have any thoughts on this?
This is so ridiculous. I thought the Federal Reserve was independent of government. That's what they always told us, right?
Right.
Oh, it's independent. Oh, yeah, right. So, what's this nonsense? And yeah, you're right. It's not bad enough to have a dual mandate, one that's the accelerator and the other the brake. And the ludicrous, these goals, all achievable by the money supply. But, well, these people at least are all in on this kind of fiat currency and on the distortions that these things can render, all of them bad to an economy. So let's wait and see.
Well, I mean, you Tim, we don't have to wait and see to know that this is nothing but a disaster in the making. This dumbass. Oh God, I said it again. I'm sorry.
Well, it's almost like looking at that iceberg. You got let's just wait and see what happens when we hit it.
When we hit it. Yes.
How big could it be?
How do you take? We have a Federal Reserve, okay, and it's not to say that they're doing a good job anyway. They have all kind of complications and problems with managing the money supply, with managing inflation. Well, they ain't doing a good job on that one right now since they started this quantitative easing that they've been doing here for the last 5 or 6 years. They've been doing this quantitative easing. Look at the inflation that's going on right now. So on top of that, they're gonna do on top of this job, this wonderful job they're doing on managing inflation. We're gonna add duties for them to accomplish. You know what we're gonna ask them to do? We're gonna reimagine the Federal Reserve so that they could start dealing with the issues related with climate change. Oh my God. And then also racial and social justice. Oh my God. What a wonderful thing for the Federal Reserve to be wondering about. So everywhere we turn around here in our society now, every institution must get into this woke business, this woke damn nonsense, this woke poison. That is what is going on here. This woman, I almost said it again, is nothing but an illiterate where economics is concerned.
And we're talking about AOC, just to be clear. We're talking about Andrea Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes, Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy people in this administration.
who said she has an economics degree? Who says she has an economics degree from Boston College? If I was Boston College right now, I would be rescinding that degree right now. I really would be. My God.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, so I guess there is hope for maybe they won't have a quad mandate in the future for the Federal Reserve, even if they could do anything about it, which they can't even do anything about inflation, obviously, as you pointed out.
It's true.
So, what are they going to do for equality and, the climate change?
Racial and social and economic justice, or whatever the hell it is, they said.
Yeah. Well, and it begs the question, too. I mean, how does one throw a switch on the money supply to affect, I guess, social justice? Exactly how does that change? I mean, if you increase the money supply, suddenly it's a just world. I mean, I guess if we increase the money supply by 2% AOC, then suddenly we can all go home and we have social justice. Is that how it works? Or is it if you decrease the money supply by 2%? That's not exactly how it works. I don't know.
You see what AOC want, and all these social justice warriors want. Well, we could just print more money and then we could give free money to everybody and everything will be nice and wonderful. That is what they're talking about, I'm sure.
Obviously, I think we need to have better imaginations because we have to reimagine the Federal Reserve, remember. So I'm not sure that we even have the ability to imagine this great Federal Reserve that can do all these wonderful things. I'm not sure.
Point. That's a very good point.
Well, the whole point is, too, imagine the Federal Reserve handling these problems in the past to begin with. I mean, I think it was Milton Friedman who pointed out that the Federal Reserve was in place in when we had the whole, what was it? The, collapse. What was it?
Great Depression.
The Great Depression, Black Monday or Black Friday. I can't remember which it was. But anyways, the point where everything collapsed, you had to run on the banks like in, the Jimmy Stewart movie. Gosh, I am just forgetting everything.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, and you have the classic bank run scene that's from It's a Wonderful Life.
The guy with COVID fog will help you out there.
He'll help me through the fog. Yeah, I guess my memory is, maybe I've got a special version of COVID that just attacks the memory. But anyways, let's jump on to some other insanity in our government.
Like Knucklehead Noise Patrol?
And this is in our Knucklehead Noise Patrol. And this really just goes down to the insanity that we just heard from AOC on, reimagining the Fed. And so, Jen Psaki was at a press conference there at the White House, and they were talking about taxing businesses. And the reporter asked her, well, won't these just be passed along to customers? Because, anybody who knows anything about economics knows you raise the prices of production, you're going to have to pass some of those costs on to the customer. I mean, there's just, no way around it, really. And so here was the quote. She said, there are some who argue that in the past, companies have passed these costs to consumers. We feel that's unfair and absurd, and the American people would not stand for that. They would not stand for, I guess, having a little bit of education in economics. I'm not sure what her point is. I mean, if a guy is making donuts and he's on the margin, and the government slaps a $1 tax on his donuts, he's going to have to pass that $1 cost along. He doesn't have a vault that he's swimming around in like Scrooge McDuck at the end of the day, full of money. He just goes, darn it.
In the article, and from past things that I've read about at least corporations, they only pass about 31% of those increases on to the customer. So somewhere around a third. I've seen similar numbers. And so they they don't even pass it all on. Some of it they absorb, So and if they only pass, 1/3 of every dollar of tax onto the customer's getting a bargain. And the company that took 2/3 in the shorts ought to be applauded instead of vilified, like our economic genius here working for the White House has espoused there.
I think we should be fair to Jen Psaki here, Jason and Tim. We should be fair to her. This is a woman who takes advice from her 5-year-old about mask policy. Okay, so let's be fair to her. Okay, her brain is not enough developed to understand the nuances involved in running a corporation after it's been taxed by the government. You see, Jen Psaki is of the same school of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was taking advice about nuclear proliferation from his 12-year-old daughter, Amy, in 1980. And now we have Jen Psaki doing the same thing about taking advice about policy from her 5-year-old. I guess this particular policy she must have also taken from her 5-year-old also, because where could you have come up with such stupidity other than taking it from a 5-year-old? Obviously. So poor Jan, let's be fair to her. Please, let's be fair to her.
Yeah. Well, and bottom line is, it's sort of like a balance of mass equation or whatever. Whatever comes in has to come out, and you got to take it from somewhere, and it's going to come out of product quality or some other competitive aspect of the business. It's just not free money that they're you've got Scrooge McDuck's vault and now you have access to it, I guess. But anyway, this is
if I may say just before we run, I saw that study, Tim, that you referred to, that's only about 31% or 33% they pass on. I don't believe the study, because like Jason said, somewhere that thing it have to be a cost to the business. That's to be.
But we will have to figure that out in the next episode, because we're at the end of the show and our editors will be upset if they have to cut too much. So we will see you at the next one. Until then, stay free.